talk to someone called Outlook the Rapper. He managed to leverage a song that only had about 1,700 streams into playing a festival show in Cuba.
I'm sure like a lot of you, right? Like when you first gotten started in this, you're like, man, how could I play a show? Like that was something that was super exciting to me. And I remember, you know, in college having a lot of friends playing house shows. I'm like, man, how do I play a house show? Like that would be crazy. Like that was the goal for me, right? And that seems super hard to attain until I did, you know what I mean? And what I started to notice as I progressed is, you know, there's this evolution that comes in this game. It's really, it feels like I'm playing a video game, you know what I mean? Like, you know, when I started, it was really hard to just get like one of those gigs. And then I learned, well, maybe like I should make an Excel spreadsheet of like 100 venues and just go hit them up and see what happens. And I hit up like 100 venues and I got one gig at like a little rusty bar down the street. And it was like, and like 9 people showed up, you know, but for me, it was exciting because it was like, that felt like progress. As I started to talk to more artists, you know, I was able to line up a couple shows. And at one of those shows, I met this artist and he was telling me about how he was able to open up for a couple thousand people, like opening up for some big artists. And I was like, oh, well, how do you do that? And he's like, here's the key, man. Like, you can't be hitting up these venues. Like, they want to know that you can sell that place out. So if you're trying to build an audience, the first people you need to be hitting up is the actual promoters, because they're the ones throwing the shows, right? So you have a lot of promoters. Like, for example, I opened up for Riff Raff. What I'm really learning right now, and this can show even through something as simple as this podcast we're doing, is whenever I see someone that I'm like, man, it would be cool to work with them, instead of just letting that thought escape my head, I immediately figure out what can I give that person that they need.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that works with shows. Promoters, what do they need? Well, they just invested 30 grand for a big artist to come play a show, and they need to sell that venue out and make their money back.
Yeah.
So now as artists, we can think, well, how can we gain that leverage? Well, for example, something like building an email list or a phone list, you know, like if you have a, you know, target, let's say, for example, I live in Portland. Let's say I, you know, built the asset of building 1,000 emails, you know, email list in Portland. If I can go approach a promoter and be like, hey, I know you're trying to sell out this venue. And like, you know, in his head, he's thinking, wow, this place is only 60% packed right now. Like, how am I going to sell the 40% of tickets left? And I could go in and be like, hey, I have a list of 1,000 people. Let me open up for you and you can get access to that list.
Almost every like bigger, not to phrase this, but every like little leg up I get in life, it's usually due from trading value with people. And whether that value is money or an exchange of services, it's like relationships and collaboration and providing value is like the most useful thing in the world.
Well, are you familiar with like the 80-20 rule?
What is it? 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers, or one of the other versions?
Yeah, 80% of your results come from 20% of the work, right?
Yeah.
There's so many things you're doing: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, networking, mixing, mastering, practicing. Like it's this constant like analyzation of like, where's my time best spent? And I'd say one of the things I've identified that has made the quickest impact is networking.
Yeah.
You're one connection away from everything changing. Right? If I can hit up someone like you and you can help me optimize my ads, and the next thing I know, those ads are making me more money than I'm spending, now I just accomplished my dream.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, that's so powerful. And I see it, you know, I'm really just getting started. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to pretend like I've made it at all, but I've had enough success, like trying to go what I've been going after in this industry, that I know it's possible.